Throughout the ages, dinner banquets of some of the most powerful royals in history, such as Louis XIV of France, could contain up to 30 different dishes to choose from. Well, today it happens to be an average selection on the menus of thousands of diverse culinary establishments all across Canada. Korean cuisine is abound with flavors and history. Tracing its roots all the way back to ancient agricultural practices, some of the key ingredients, such as rice, have been used in Korea for thousands of years. Modern Korean culinary experience is built around traditions and history, and many Korean families that come to Canada maintain and preserve them in their homes and restaurants.
If you look at the peninsula of Korea, Korea is actually traditionally a barley-rich region. So most of the people, most of my people in my grandparents and even my parents' generation, they grew up primarily eating barley or brown rice. Having a bowl of white rice was a real treat that maybe the head of the household, or if you go even further back from there, the only royalty would be able to afford, right? There's a lot of work that goes into having a bowl of purely white, like fresh white rice. Whereas now, with the industrialization, I guess, the processes being what they are, it is the standard. And anything above and beyond that is really expensive or exquisite. You're paying premium to have a bowl of brown rice now. It's completely backwards, right? So I think there's a neat story, and there's some questions I think that we need to ask when we're eating the food, that we shouldn't just take things for granted anymore. And I think, you know, the restaurant, our restaurant, and food generally affords us that opportunity, because we are open-minded, or we're open-spirited. Our hearts are still open when we're eating. You know, what do they say? The fastest way to a person's heart is through their stomachs, or something, right? I mean, it's a saying about trying to win a person over, but I think it can go beyond just romantic connotations, in terms of an entryway into other people's hearts, and a dialogue that way. Yeah, open to dialogue. I don't know if that makes any sense. Yeah. Thanks for having this meal.
Well, thank you for having us. It looks delicious.
So in our restaurant, we will usually start off by serving the side dishes first. In this particular case, we have a smattering of side dishes. We'll always include at least a few. In this case, we have two different kinds of kimchi. This is a napa kimchi. It's a big football-sized cabbage. And this one is radish kimchi. We have this gampungi, which the chef had made earlier. It's a sweet and spicy chicken. So it's kind of you know, I was talking to you before about how our restaurant focuses more on Chinese and Korean style food. A lot of people might look at that and say, well, that's sweet and sour chicken, but in typical Korean fashion, we'll take a Chinese idea and then put some spice in, and then call it Korean, right? So you'll never find this anywhere in China, but it is what Koreans will call Chinese food, right? Sort of a Korean version of Chinese food. Mm-hmm. Within the language of Korean culture, I think there are some things that will never change. For example, in Korean food, when we say have a meal in Korean to somebody, especially respectfully, it actually translates to have some rice. You don't say eat food, we say have some rice in Korean. So if the idea of that rice being a central part of the meal, and then what we call banchan on the table. So you'll see it later, but we put out all these side dishes on the table, and they're not appetizers in Korean. They are considered complementary to the focal point of the meal, which is the rice, right? So all these other things are complements to rice. It's not really a meal if you're not having rice, and it's a snack essentially, right? Like I'll joke about it with my chef. I'll give him a sandwich or a slice of pizza, and he'll say, "Okay, well, this is a great snack, but where's my food? Where's the rice?" He said, "I'm not eating anything until I'm having rice, or maybe noodles." Might be an exception. So I think that that idea, from a Korean traditional standpoint, the rice is still, or the rice or the noodles are still the focal point, and everything else is thought to complement whatever I'm eating. Sometimes people think that Koreans just eat a lot of barbecued meats, and the meat is the main focal point. But actually, the rice or the noodles are thought to be the main point of it. And even to this day, if you eat in a larger Korean meal, just like the Chinese, actually, the rice and the noodles are often served last, because it is kind of the main point of the meal. Everything is leading up to that point. In your case, you have our cold noodles. In the summertime, this is extremely popular. We can barely keep up with the demand. The noodles are made of starch and buckwheat, as well as wheat, so it's got a distinct chewy texture to it. And then the broth is a beef-based broth, but it's got a good savory and sourness to it. And then we like to put in some things to make it spicy sometimes, because Koreans and their spice habits. These were also made in the kitchen earlier. I think you might have missed that, but this is noodles. These two dishes here are what we would consider more Chinese style. We make all of our noodles fresh from scratch, so a lot of our Korean customers especially, but a lot of our customers really like our noodles here, and we take great pride in the noodles. In fact, you have 4 different kinds of noodles here represented, 4 different noodle dishes here represented at this table here. It's kind of remarkable. This is the only restaurant that I know in the world that has 8 different kinds of black bean sauce noodles. Some restaurants might have 2 or 3, we have 8. And 8 different kinds of what we call jjampong, which is a seafood noodle soup. In this particular case, the chef has chosen maybe the most unique black bean sauce noodle for you, and the most unique of our jjampong. The Jajangmyun, as it's called in Korean, just means black bean sauce noodles, and in this case, he's got julienne vegetables, seafood, broccoli, and it's just served with a hint more he adds a couple of extra ingredients, sesame oil and hot sauce, just to give it a bit of richness and savoriness to it. And I mean, even the way things are presented, we'll have stone bowls, and some things will be cooked in stone, some things will be cooked in metal. The seasonings, some of them will be more earthy, other ones will be more water-based. How we take care of the water within the meal it's actually underlying in all of the different layers of the meal, and we don't often get to those kinds of conversations. Actually, thank you for asking that. We don't often get to those conversations from within the restaurant's perspective. Yeah.
Annyeong everybody! My name is Dimitri. This is hello in Korean language, because we are doing Korean cooking today. Amazing people with me in our studio, Sam Lee and Janet Yoon.
Hi.
Welcome to kitchen. Welcome to our kitchen, guys. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much for coming. They own a restaurant, and they're both chefs, and today they're gonna show us how to prepare a very, very nice and popular dish. Explain to us, guys, like what kind of dish you're gonna prepare today?
So what we're doing today is a dish called bulgogi. It's a Korean barbecue beef. It's a 2,000-year-old recipe that's been around in Korea. It's a very essential and basic part of Korean culture.
In Canada, only 150 years old. Guys, can you believe it? 2,000 years old dish. I'm so excited. Let's move to that ingredient table and show everybody what you guys brought here, what you prepare.
So for this basic dish, you start off with good cut of ribeye.
Okay.
Very thinly sliced. And into this is what I like to call basic ingredients, which is soy sauce, sugar. You can use white sugar as well, but dark brown is a little bit healthier.
All right.
Also green onions, the sesame seeds, black pepper, sesame oil, and onions. And those are the basic ingredients that
To
you really
marinate the
need
beef.
to put in. Now, things you can add to it that makes it better.
Okay.
Is you can add mirin, which is a sweet
Vinegar.
rice vinegar from
Yep.
Korea,
Excellent.
as well as sake.
Oh.
And a little bit of chili flakes, give it a little bit of kick, as well as different vegetables like mushrooms, green onions, carrots, and mushrooms we like to add more than one kind, just because it adds to the flavor of the dish.
Excellent. Let's take all the ingredients to our kitchen and start cooking. Let's begin the 2 years old Korean dish.
2,000 years.
2,000 years old, sorry, and it's Korean barbecue beef. So we're gonna start with marinating the beef, yeah?
Yes. So what we usually like to start is to make the marinade first.
Okay.
So into this we add the sake.
You're not gonna try sake before you put? Maybe it's not good.
It came in a big bottle. I drank most of
Okay.
it already. And we put in a little bit of mirin, the sweet rice wine,
Excellent.
as well as the brown sugar and green onions. And what we like to do is stir the brown sugar a little bit so that it dissolves a bit.
Okay,
into
so we're gonna
into the
stir
sauce.
the. So you guys from South Korea?
South Korea.
My dream. I like to travel, and that's why I like Toronto so much. If you can't afford or you don't have time, we can come to your restaurant
That's right.
and feel ourselves like in South Korea.
We usually like to work with our hands in Korea. So we take the beef that's already been sliced thin and we add it to the marinade. And we give everything a really good mix. So you don't have to be shy in this part. Just squish everything so that the marinade gets into every layer of the beef.
It's so nice to see when people using gloves. So that's mean I will come to your restaurant. It's gonna be nice, clean. That smells so good already,
Oh, thank you.
and I like the color. So how long you gonna keep this beef in the marinade? In the fridge, yeah, of course.
Yes,
Fridge.
we usually like to keep this covered in the fridge overnight.
Overnight.
And the beef will soak up all the flavors. And then when you cook it, it just enhances the flavor of the beef.
All right.
Now into this, once it's all mixed in,
Yeah.
we add some of the vegetables in. Okay. So into this dish, now we start adding the onions,
Okay.
the green onions, okay, the carrots, red
Nice
peppers,
colors. Nice colors.
and then the mushrooms. Now, you can add any vegetable you want to this. It's not set in stone that you have to add these particular ones. You pick the ones you like, and you can add it into the marinade because the beef is not going to be affected by the different vegetables that you add. And we like to add a lot of vegetables just because we tend to eat a lot of vegetables in our family.
Very good. And it's healthy too.
It's very healthy.
And-
And finally, we add the sesame oil.
Sesame oil, of course. That's gonna be nice flavor. I can't wait.
So once the sesame oil is mixed in, now we can cover.
Okay, guys,
And put it in the fridge.
come back tomorrow, and we're gonna show you. No, I'm just kidding. The magic of television. Everything already marinated. So Sam already brought nice marinated meat and vegetables. Let's see, guys, what you
There
have.
you go. So this one's ready to cook.
Uh-huh.
It's got all the vegetables and mushrooms, it's the same ingredients in there, and it's all been marinating in the
All right.
sauces
So
that we do.
you want me to start the?
Yes, please. Okay.
There you go.
So you want to do the onions? So 기름 좀.
So we need to, we have to heat the frying pan first, yeah? Let me
Yeah.
put a little bit.
So into the frying
Oil,
pan, add
yeah,
a little
oil.
bit of oil.
Little bit less. There you go.
So as you can see, it's the 600 grams of meat. When all the vegetables and marinade added, it actually looks very large.
Okay. Okay, that's it. Enough. Yeah. Perfect. Add couple of mushrooms. Yeah, I like mushrooms very much. There you go. Look at the colors. And smells here amazing. If you do something like that with beef, I can imagine what you can do with fish. It's popular dish too, yeah?
Yes, very popular.
Of course. Oi, let me. Nice.
Oh,
Beautiful.
You've been cooking before. Good
Yes.
for you. So once you see all the beef is cooked, it's all thinly sliced, so it's easy to see when it's well
Plus
done.
ribeye, that's the best part, you know, it's so nice and tender. There you go.
So the good thing about Korean meat is when you marinate like this, even when you cook the meat well done, it's still very tender. So in Western cooking, you want to keep it about medium rare to keep that nice tenderness and softness of the meat. But Korean meat is well done and it's still delicious.
Okay, meat is ready. Let's transfer to the plate. I'm just wondering how we're gonna eat this meat.
So I'll show you in a minute. It's a very easy and fun way to eat this dish. It is called sam.
Sam.
Sam literally means wrap. It's a nice way to eat it because you can eat with your hands, and it makes the dish very nutritious. So these are the mild Korean chili peppers. If you don't like it spicy, you can cut it in half and remove all the seeds and white portions, and it makes it non-spicy. But if you like a little bit of heat, just eat it the way it is, and it's still delicious. This is a perella leaf. It's
Perella leaf.
in Korean,
Available in stores?
yes, in all the Korean grocery stores. It's what we call sesame leaves. But it's the name of it is perella. And we also have a lettuce, red leaf lettuce here.
Okay.
You can also use any leafy vegetables that you like iceberg lettuce is fine, Boston lettuce is fine. A little frisee is actually very nice.
Wow.
Or you can use just romaine lettuce. And so, Janet, you want to show them how to eat this?
Yes,
So
please.
Basically, you start off with one sheet of any of the lettuce that you like. And
Big lettuce for big guy, you know.
samjang. So we add a little bit of the samjang sauce in the bottom.
Excellent.
And then into the lettuce, we're going to add
Rice?
the rice. You don't have to add the rice, but we like it. And then a little bit of beef and some of the vegetables that you like. And add some mushrooms in there for him. He likes mushrooms.
Oh, I like these mushrooms. Look so good.
Yeah.
And
And
smells
then
good.
you could add to this, if you want, a perella leaf.
I would like, yes.
You go ahead,
Of course.
yeah, right into the middle. And then now you can wrap the lettuce around how you eat it. And then you can actually hold it yourself if you like.
So you
And
just
then-
bite?
Yeah, just bite into it like you eat a taco.
My goodness. Perella leaf gives a beautiful flavor.
Yes.
Guys, thank you so much. Amazing dish. And I hope we're gonna see you healthy in your wonderful restaurant. All the best. Thank you very much for coming.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for watching. Until next time. Bye bye.
We opened 2012, 6 years. And I didn't have money to marketing. And I stay here all the time. And each customer coming, I will keep in touch with each single customer, make sure each customer, they happy to living, and when they leaving time, oh, I want to bring somebody special here. So and I'm still working kitchen and outside both. In Korea, back home, my mom used to cook it. So now realize it's a real Korean. But some customer, they said, oh, this restaurant is more real Korean food than in Korea. So we really did well besides. And Korean food is a lot of healthy food. So I think people love it. And we have also the Korean food, kimchi is number one. Like the Canadian people, they eating steak and potato. We are eating kimchi and rice. So we have this restaurant, or 1 to 10, we're making sauce homemade, and we're using lots of fruit. And kimchi is really, not kimchi is kimchi. Depends on who's making, what's in there. So we have 3 different kimchi. The table kimchi, we have every second day we make it, and we stay overnight cooler, we serve it. And we have kimchi stew, aged over months. And also we have kimchi bibimbap. That kimchi have to be over months. Naturally, you have to be ferment. So it's really good food. This one is a kimchi stew, 100% ferment, aged over months. Some kimchi is over 2 months, 3 months, but most we are busy, so 1 month will be okay to kimchi stew. You want to try? You can try.
I want to try.
Yeah, it's really good for your health. If somebody never tried Korean food, they came in, and I asked them, I will order for them, they can eat. Not real Korean. Korean is a little easy one, I recommend. And they order, and then I bring one I like to fit them, I bring free, I bring on the side. And I told them, this is your order, this one is from me. I want you to try how good Korean food. So they surprised eating too. Yeah.
And so a lot of these things, they are essentially comfort food, right?
Yeah.
So something
Yes.
your family
you,
would
you
cook.
invite your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, you should cook this,
so-
especially this one. This is a squid, stir-fried squid, and Korean people eating squid fresh because we have a 3-side. Korea is 3-side ocean. They can have sashimi, they can have cook, but this is really good for with rice or with a drink. Yeah. And this one is originally bibimbap is number 1 like this. Or we have about 7 different colors. It's a lot of veggies. Underneath they have rice and vegetable. We have special sauce.
So this is more of
Yeah.
a staple.
Yeah, it's like a traditional. This is really 100% traditional.
And the technique with a hot bowl that keeps
It's
it
really, hot, really hot, but
hot. This is like
customer love it.
and it's
Yeah.
an older technique, right? So thousands of years now.
Yes. If you don't like it hot, we have regular bowl to serve it. But I think customer love this hot.
Yeah, and it keeps it warm. It's
Yes.
very nice, yes.
Until you finish, this is hot because we have cooking at the stove. Even I will die, born again, I would love to do restaurant. Yeah, and I don't know how I did it. I did it. Yeah, and all my customers, they love it, and they know when they come in here, they don't see me outside. They know I'm inside. Yeah.
It's no surprise that with each passing year, Canada has been seeing more and more ethnic cuisines gaining prominence in its ever-evolving culinary scene. Over the past years, the Korean cuisine has been molded and shaped by its proprietors and connoisseurs alike, having now truly gained momentum. and will likely continue to surprise even the most discerning food critics for years to come. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.